I have a message from the village Jedi.
Max Rebo, hit it! Hello. Welcome back to another Star Wars Point of View brought to you by the local Village Jedi. My name is Marina, and if you're new here, welcome. And if you're not, welcome back, where we discuss Star Wars lore and so much more. I know I said that we would be back with YouTube today, but we're not. Audio only, because I'm feeling sick. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but my sinuses have just been going kind of crazy. And if I'm being honest, it's just that time of year for me. Everything's blooming and it's nice and warm, and sometimes it just gets to me a little bit. So I'm just going to be sitting here cozied up discussing Star Wars, and we will be back and better than ever next week. Hopefully. I know that's what I said this week, but just bear with me. I appreciate your patience and love on this podcast. Anyways, a way to get involved in the discussion, if you're not already, feel free to follow me on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok at The Village Jedi. I'm so excited to have you here, where we discuss all things Star Wars, and it's just a fun place. Join the village, become a villager, and yeah, all that good stuff. Last month was so much fun. We just dove head first into all things Siege of Mandalore. I got a lot of great feedback from those episodes. It seemed like you guys really enjoyed the breakdowns. And it just was a lot of fun. As I said, I could talk about the Siege of Mandalore forever. And so being able to just take the opportunity on the show to break it down for 4 weeks was a whole lot of fun. But that chapter is closed and we are moving forward. What is on the docket? I know I said we would be reading Light of the Jedi, so that is on the list. Legacy by Madeline Rowe. I don't think I'm pronouncing that last name correctly, but regardless, the new book that just came out, exploring the relationship between Princess Leia and Rey. That book, I am diving so headfirst into it because, as you guys know, I'm a Reylo. I love all things Rey and Kylo Ren, and so this book is set right after The Last Jedi and before Rise of Skywalker. So it has been a lot of fun so far. I think my Kindle said I'm like 18% of the way through it already. I'm just loving it. I can't wait to keep reading it. I suggest that you read it. So I might go over a few of the notes that I appreciated about that book, because like I said, that's one that I've been eyeballing that I could not wait to get my hands on. So it's been a lot of fun reading that. Also on the line of reading, I'm still into comic books. I picked up another Star Wars comic book today. I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet. Mostly, I've been reading a lot of DC comic books. If I'm being honest, I'm a huge Young Justice guru, and I renewed my HBO Max subscription, so I've been catching up on some of the DC content that I've missed over the years. I'm just a DC comic girly, I guess, so that's been a lot of fun. And that's kind of it as far as updates. I'm excited to get into this episode because, like I said, it's just been kind of a whirlwind with traveling, but we are back home and we are back and ready to discuss Star Wars here at the Village Jedi. Welcome, my name is Marina, and let's go ahead and take a brief ad break before we dive into this week's discussion. Hello there. If you're looking to build your collection, the Village Jedi is now collaborating with Saber Masters to offer you $20 off your first combat-ready laser sword. You heard that correctly, combat-ready. The team at Saber Masters makes it their personal mission to create lightsabers built to last using lightweight polycarbonate blades with customizable settings and simple navigation. Saber Masters has really crafted the ultimate experience. Saber Masters is always offering a great deal for Force users everywhere, but with my code TVJ20, you can save an extra $20 at checkout. Simply type in the code at the checkout screen, TVJ20, and you're done. Link will be in the show notes. I would like to take this opportunity to briefly go over how and why I kind of come into episode ideas from a logistic podcasting host standpoint. How do I come up with episode ideas? It really just depends on the vibe of the times. When I started the show, we were right on the horizon of the new Mandalorian Grogu movie, Maul Shadow Lord. It was a time to be alive as a fan, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to jump, we're going to do this. And it ended up working out perfectly. I had plenty of content for what I was wanting to talk about Star Wars wise, but now that that is kind of done, I've kind of been trying to brainstorm where am I at right now and what direction do I want this show to go, because this is a lot of fun for me and it's a lot of fun for you guys. I've gotten a lot of good feedback. So I don't really know how to describe my process as much as it just kind of comes to me, right? Like I have a vision in the Force. I know it when I hear it. I know it when I see it. And sometimes I get inspiration from like other shows that I've been a long time listener of, like, oh, let's do a deep dive on some of our favorite characters. Let's revisit some of our favorite memories of Star Wars. We all kind of pass those around as a podcasting community. But what I was going for with this episode is I just recently watched the new Avatar movie. It came out on Disney. And it's beautiful. And that's kind of the whole marketing shtick behind all the Avatar movies, is they are beautiful to watch. That's what I was thinking about for this episode, is what is beautiful to watch about Star Wars. And if you've been listening for a while, you understand kind of my pull to Star Wars is the immersive storytelling. I love that when I get to sit down and watch Star Wars or read Star Wars, really just dive into a Star Wars project, world building is always what I care about the most. If the time I'm spending with that piece of media takes me out of the time I'm spending in my current reality, it's done well. And I think that's why a lot of people appreciate Star Wars stories even on into their adulthood, is it reminds them of happy memories from when they were younger, because the characters, the sets, the costumes, the music, all these things stick with them because it takes a lot of time and effort to build an immersive world. And so that's what the Avatar movies have going for them. When you're watching those movies, you are on Pandora. You become sucked into the culture, the people, the way of life. And so take that kind of immersiveness and put it into a galaxy like Star Wars. You have an infinite amount of possibilities, different planets, different cultures, different species, different belief systems. It is so easy to find yourself in that world. And so I just was thinking, I want to do an episode about that. I want to do an episode on immersive storytelling when it comes to Star Wars, because that to me as a fan is why I keep coming back. That is Star Wars. It is one of their biggest strengths, is being able to tell a good story and keep the audience in the world that they're trying to build. There's actually like this trend going around on social media where if you sit down to like Netflix documentary music, you're supposed to say like, me preparing for the Netflix documentary where blah, 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 blah. And so I posted one and it was like, me preparing for the Netflix documentary for fans who use Star Wars to survive crippling grief. And if you don't know, like, that's why I started the podcast, is Star Wars was such a great coping mechanism for me, because it does just do such a good job putting you in a place that is somewhere special with fun characters and great adventures and cool costumes and different concepts and ideas. So I really like the idea of spending an episode where we can just talk a little bit about that. I put on a questionnaire for the listeners on Instagram. Hey, click this link and tell me a little bit about what some of your favorite shots are in Star Wars, just because you think they're beautiful. And so I just wanted to go through those. Like, I was going to put together my own list, but I thought, you know what? I would way rather just spend a little bit of time in your guys' heads. Let's think about some of the moments that you appreciated. Because I got quite a few submissions. So if you're listening to this and you did write in, thank you so much. If you're listening to this and you wish you would have wrote in, like I said, please go follow me on Instagram and just be on the lookout for those forum submission opportunities. So let's go ahead and get into these. I'm excited. There was one other thing I wanted to consider now that I'm looking at my notes here. Star Wars 1977, Episode 4, A New Hope, it actually won an Academy Award for Best Art Direction and Set Decoration. So this has been a staple for Star Wars films since the beginning. The Star Wars animation projects have won over a dozen major awards for shows like Star Wars The Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, and of course Star Wars Visions, which if you're not familiar, Star Wars Visions is really just like a sandbox for Star Wars fans. Like they gave these big animating businesses, basically, to my understanding, an opportunity to tell a Star Wars inspired story, but the limit was your imagination, like whatever art style you wanted to use, whatever story you wanted to tell, because none of those stories were considered canon. So they have always put a high priority on telling beautiful stories. And Star Wars live action projects, even, they've won 7 Academy Awards and 15 Primetime Emmy Awards, alongside numerous other competitive industry honors. So Star Wars as a whole has always put a lot of emphasis into making it an enjoyable experience for fans. And, you know, we can get that with books, we can get that with comics, we can get that with games. But when it comes to media, really the meat and potatoes of being a Star Wars fan, you're watching the shows, you're watching the movies. And for a lot of us, it is because you want to go somewhere else. You want to spend your time enjoying something else in a galaxy far, far away a long time ago. And that's kind of what brings us all together. It's why I wanted to start a podcast. It's why I wanted to build a little community on my corner of the internet to just get to meet other fans and put myself out there with what I appreciate about Star Wars. So we're going to get to it, guys. I promise. I know that I'm not as like peppy this week as I usually am. Like I said, it's because I'm not feeling too good, but it's also just kind of an emotional, sensitive subject for me, where this is what it means to be a true fan, is sitting down and really reflecting on these moments. Why do you like Star Wars? What about it has stuck with you? And for a lot of us, it's those scenes, those frames, those moments that we consider Star Wars cinematic masterpieces. So now, without further ado, let's go ahead and read some of these submissions. So first up, this person said, number 1, Kenobi during Siege of Mandalore wearing the armor with the lightsaber in his hands. Number 2, Darth Vader watching the construction of the Death Star will forever be iconic. And number 3, definitely your story background of the Binary Suns. I actually have it as my current phone wallpaper. My God, now that I'm thinking of it, there are so many of them. No wonder they can be discussed on a dedicated podcast. That's so sweet. No, it's true. 1, 2, and 3. I'm just going to take these one at a time. Number 1, when I was driving around the other day thinking about it, I was like, should I put together my own list? What should I say? Blah, blah. Well, if I do, I'm definitely going to put that one shot of Kenobi when the garage door is open on Mandalore and we see him standing there with his lightsaber in that red Mandalorian armor. That scene is so tough. Like, that is just such a good, like, laptop screensaver background. Like, that, it would make such a good poster. I love that one. That's a great submission. And in number 2, yeah, Darth Vader watching the construction of the Death Star. Love that scene. It's very full circle. And number 3, yeah, the Binary Suns. I have a feeling there's going to be quite a few people saying the Binary Suns, just because that is such a simple yet elegant shot. Like, when you think of Star Wars, guys, the vast majority of fans, we're all going to have some sort of rendition of that scene where Luke Skywalker is looking longingly into the sunset on Tatooine and you have the 2 suns. So iconic. To the point where, like, anything that has 2 suns or looks like it has 2 suns or 2 celestial whatever, like, you think of Tatooine. Like, if you know, you know. I have a mural in my house like that. If you follow me on social media, you've seen it. I post videos in front of it all the time. When people come over, it's not like glaringly obvious that I love Star Wars, and that's the kind of merch that I like. is if you know, you know. And having a nod to the twin suns on Tatooine is very if you know, you know. Because fans everywhere who appreciate cinematic moments in Star Wars can all agree that that moment in A New Hope is forever iconic. It is seared into our brains. I liked that one. Okay, this person said from A New Hope, the binary sunset with Luke, iconic Star Wars scene. Yes. Duh. Check. Approved. Stamp. Next. Because it's just so good. And what makes it so good is we had never seen anything like that before. Like I said, this movie won an award for the set design, for the set decoration, for everything that they took care to create this world. Tatooine is not a real place, but when you're watching that movie, it feels like they filmed it on a different planet, right? Like they did the moisture farms so well, and the little huts and the droids. But the sunset and the twin suns and the culture of living on Tatooine with the sand people and the banthas, like there's so much effort that goes into making these worlds believable, and it started from the very beginning. I feel like this reminds me, like I saw a post or a video or something like that on socials not too long ago, and this mom had a twin suns tattoo. But she was like, I love it even more so because, like, I have 2 little boys. Oh, my goodness. Love that. Okay, next. This person said, the Eye of Aldhani in Andor Season 1. The shot is so beautiful. It reminds me of the Petrova line shot in Project Hail Mary. I'm going to be honest. I have yet to see that movie. I want to read the book first. I know. I'm one of those people. I just got to do it. I did it with Dune, and it made my experience watching the movie so incredible. So I know that that's how it's going to be when I watch Project Hail Mary eventually. It's going to be after I read the book. But this isn't a Project Hail Mary podcast. This is a Star Wars podcast, and this is an Elite Baller reference answer. The Eye of Aldhani. When we were building up to that arc, when we were building up to that episode, we did not know what kind of treat we were in for as fans. We knew something incredible was happening. We just didn't know. And so when you get to that episode, everyone is awestruck. The farmers who are the nomads, the Imperials, even like Cassian and his crew we're just the audience. Like we can't believe what we're seeing because again, Star Wars has this thing where they put you in places that you've never been to before, you've never thought of before, you've never imagined yourself before. And so having this shot where it's just colors and shapes and sparkles and it looks like a painting, but it's a moving painting and you're moving through it. But there's also like this high risk action scene happening at the same time. It's so poetic. And I think that's what makes Andor as a whole so beautiful is somehow there's moments where it's slow, but your heart is racing. Like even in the slow moments, the stakes are high. And so of course, in this moment, the stakes are so high. We're at like the peak of the story, but we also are just basically like getting thrown into this cinematically beautiful, artistic, moving event. It's like a once in a lifetime event that we're getting to witness as the audience, and we're just as awestruck as the people there who are experiencing it. Yes, I love this answer. So true. Okay, this next one. From Empire Strikes Back, the shot of Vader at the top of the steps at Bespin when all we see is his silhouette. I just have to take a second because any shot with Vader is a cinematic masterpiece. He commands the room and he demands attention from the audience, real and fake. Like the people who are in the audience watching this play out, who are living it, are just as like their heart is racing just as much as the people who are on the couch. Because he just has this haunting presence. And I remember seeing something, because, you know, I'm an artist. we're going on a tangent. Hold on. I'm an artist. And I remember one of the things that they were telling us over and over and over in this art class that I took is silhouette is everything. If you can easily identify a character or an object just based on the silhouette, you've got the eye. Like you're creating something. And so like we always talked a lot about that with like poses. Like if you're going to draw a person, make sure you do a pose, because otherwise like the silhouette is flat, blah blah blah. With Vader, he has such an iconic silhouette that it's true. Even in this shot where he's at the top of the stairs, he's about to come face to face with Luke, you just see the mask and the cape silhouette and the little like lights for his oxygen breather. But that's all you need. That's all you need to know that he is scary, he's there, and something is about to happen. Something important is about to happen. And we see Star Wars use this iconic silhouette in any sort of project that involves Vader. Any hallway scenes, a lot of the like Maul Shadow Lord, where he just kind of comes out of the fog slowly. He is everything it means to be cinematic. Like when people think of Star Wars, they either think of the twin suns on Tatooine or they think of Darth Vader. That is how you correctly stick with an audience. That is how you brand their minds, is creating a character that will stick with them forever. And not even in a way that's like, oh, he's so annoying, but in a way that's like, whoa. Like, I feel like that's the right word, commanding. He just commands your attention in any sort of scene he's in. So this is a great answer. I'm really glad that someone wrote this in, because that is a tangent that needs to be goad on once in a while, is how well Star Wars creates iconic characters, iconic moments, and just these things that stick with fans. And that's why we're here talking about it this week. Okay, this one says, I think the most cinematic piece has to be the Obi-Wan and Anakin fight in Revenge of the Sith. This is due to the CGI practical set that ILM made, in addition to the amount of energy that Ewan and Hayden put toward the fight. Could not agree more. And I wanted to go down that road a little bit, that if you haven't gotten a chance, please check out the Light and Magic documentaries on Disney Plus that go behind the scenes for how Star Wars sort of innovated the industry when it comes to CGI, set design. When they did the original trilogy, all the models, they took a lot of care and time into making moments, droids, places, costumes that would stick with fans, that make them feel like they are there. And this is one of those moments. When you're watching Revenge of the Sith and everything is just all coming to a head, your emotions are involved. You can't believe what you just saw. And if you're anything like me and you're a Revenge of the Sith prequels Glazer girly, every time you watch that film, you're hoping that the ending is going to be different. You know it won't be, but your heart just gets involved. And so when you see these shots on Mustafar where they are clashing and the lava is rising up in the back and it's hot, like you can see that they're sweating and they're exhausted, but it's still good versus evil, even though it's two blue blades against each other. Like it's two brothers fighting against one another, and Obi-Wan is doing everything he can to save his brother's life, and Anakin is just so blinded by the dark side and pain and grief that he can't even see straight. It's all just coming to a head, and we talked a lot about that last week with Order 66, or last month. Whenever there was any sort of discussion about Order 66 and what a tragedy it is, we always circle back to this moment, because a lot of fans argue about it. What would have happened if Obi-Wan had been successful and actually killed Anakin? What would have happened if Anakin was successful and killed Obi-Wan? What would have happened if they walked away together? You know, so much discussion just on one scene, and it's because Star Wars puts the effort into making it a believable, conflict. You aren't just good versus evil. You don't know who you want to win. You don't know what you want the outcome to be. And you are in that moment every single second. So yes, absolutely cinematic, sticks with the fans. Very well done. Okay, this person says Kylo freezing the blaster shot that came from Poe Dameron. We all know where we were when we first saw The Force Awakens. We all know. I was in high school. I was just kind of getting back into Star Wars. And when I saw this moment, like most of us, we had no idea who this character was. He was menacing. He had this mask. He was talking through sort of like a voice muffler. And then we didn't really know what his caliber of power was. But for him to like force block a blaster shot and just hold it in the air with his mind, like he's not even using his hand while he walks around. And then when he walks away and the blaster bolt just like shoots down, that was so cool. And I appreciate that somebody wrote in a sequel answer, because I think there is a lot of beautiful moments in the sequels. That's one of the reasons I go to bat every single time for The Last Jedi. I don't like anything on Canto Bight, which is the casino planet, but I love everything else. I love the rain and everything on the Battle of Crate with the red and the white contrasting. And then we see Luke and he's in like this broody like cliffside planet where everything's green and gray. And there's just so much happening. And you can tell that they put so much care into the sets and the costumes and the music. There's a lot of beautiful moments in that scene. And you know what? I don't think anybody wrote in about this, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it in here. A moment that sticks with me cinematically, and probably most fans, if they're willing to admit it in a dark room where no one would ever hear them, is in Rise of Skywalker, when you already know where I'm headed with this as a Reylo. At the end of the movie, when Rey puts the lightsaber behind her back and Ben pulls out himself. Like I can't even put it into words how cool it is. Like it was the craziest thing seeing that in theaters, that physical objects could pass through the Force like that. Like the grip that these two characters have on the Force was so incredibly fun to watch. And there were moments like that throughout the whole sequel trilogy that we won't forget because they took those creative risks. And for me, that moment, I'm set every time. Like if I put one of those movies on, one of the sequel movies, while I'm going about my day, doing laundry, whatever, I am sat for that moment. It is so good. And this one is so good too. Force Awakens. So good. So thank you so much for writing that in. I appreciate you including a sequel moment. This person said the rebellion flying away from the Death Star as it is blowing up. Yes. One thing about Star Wars is we need more happy endings. If you talk to any Star Wars fan, they hold tight to their happy endings because we don't get them very often. And this person said that one of their favorite scenes is the victory celebration from the end of Return of the Jedi. Yes. So these two go hand in hand. When the good guys win, it makes a lasting impression, especially the celebration where like fireworks are going off and there's the music and the little teddy bears are all dancing around on Endor. It is the vibe. And same here, like when the rebellion wins, the Death Star is in smithereens. It's just a good time to be a fan. You are immersed. You're part of the rebellion. We just won. We just did that. We're all going home. And it is a good time to be alive. And it's those moments, those happy ending moments that as a fan, your heart is just so warmed. Right? And same with okay, I'm going to go on a tangent again here. That is why I loved the Mandalorian and Grogu movie so much, is because it was heartwarming, wholesome, good guy wins moments throughout the whole film. Because when you want to escape into a alternate reality such as Star Wars or Marvel or DC or Star Trek or whatever, what have you. When you want to immerse yourself, it's because you want to get away from the stress and the bad things going on in your reality. So why would I leave my stressful reality to then enter a stressful fake reality? You know what I mean? So that's why, as a fan of Star Wars, it is these happy moments that make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside that do stick with you the most, that become those cinematic masterpieces that you are sat for every rewatch because you're craving that comfort feeling. And so, yeah, when the rebellion wins and the bad guys are done, that's a good answer. I like that. I appreciate that. This person said, I think the frame with Luke and the twin sons in episode 4 has to be the prettiest, but some of my other favorites are Darth Vader hallway scene in Rogue One, iconic of course, the scene with Hunter and Omega at the end of the Bad Batch, and literally every single scene of Ahsoka from like her leaving the House of Order, from like her leaving the Order to her in Rebels. Yes, she is my favorite character ever. Okay. Two things. One, you're going to have to beg for my forgiveness on this one for bringing up Hunter and Omega at the end of Bad Batch. That is a cinematic masterpiece. Full circle. She's all grown up. He's old. He's got like the gray going on. He just wants to keep her safe and protect her. He loves her. He's like her older brother, but also like her dad. We are on such an emotional whirlwind as fans watching that show. You know that? Have you ever stopped to think about that? We all think like, oh, Plan 99, oh, Tech dying. Girl. The Bad Batch is a cinematic Star Wars masterpiece. You want to talk about fluffy, lighthearted, warm. That is the Bad Batch in a nutshell. Found family, overcoming differences, finding your path, appreciating one another, finding purpose, beating the bad guys. It has it all. Tragedy, sure. But when you outweigh the tragedy with the good, fluffy, warm feelings, it is an incredible comfort show. So thank you for bringing that up, but also I don't appreciate it because that just brought back a whole bunch of feelings that I thought I had buried successfully. And yeah, everything that has to do with Ahsoka, you guys already know how I feel about that scene in Tales of the Jedi, where she's learning how to survive Order 66, and then the garage doors open, and we see her facing all of the painted 501st soldiers. Y'all, anything that has to do with Ahsoka. I feel like I had this revelation a few weeks ago, but I'm going to go ahead and put it here also, just in case some of y'all missed it. Ahsoka's, you cannot convince me that her design was on accident. She was blue and white for a reason. Somebody said that the 501st soldiers are blue and white because of Anakin's pod racer. I fully do believe that. Ahsoka being blue and white because the 501st soldiers, absolute insane behavior. There is so many choices like that, and George Lucas even talks about that in the documentaries that I was mentioning earlier, that when it comes to costume designs, he wanted to portray those Star Wars cinematic moments. Like in, I think it's Return of the Jedi, when Luke is wearing like this black outfit, but then it opens to reveal the white fabric inside. George goes on a tangent about like how that should reveal to the audience that like he's not really sure where he's going to be at in the Force. Is he going to be a dark side user? What is he? And then when the flap opens and you see the white fabric, okay, no, he still has the light side. There's good in him. There's good in his father. He sees the good in others. It's poetry. It rhymes. George Lucas, love that. I don't even know where I was going with that. Thank you for writing that in. Okay, this person, Mandalorian Grogu. Hello, hello, hello. In The Mandalorian Grogu, that shot of the X-Wings flying in front of the sunset. Guys, when I watched this film in theaters, I said theaters on purpose. I saw it 3 times in theaters. She's a poet. She didn't even know it. I loved that scene. and you hear the music, it's like bum 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 bum. Like we're cooking. Remy the Rat was under the hat, and then we see the X-wings flying through the. Oh, it's just so good. I'm so glad you wrote this, whoever wrote this. It's so true. And you're just getting so hyped. You're like, yo, it's the X-Wings. And we're like, we're on the beach base. We're about to meet these new characters. And then we see like Zeb walking. Like, oh, it's so good. Oh, I've got to rewatch that movie. It just came out on digital too. I got to rewatch that. Okay. This person said Rogue One's Death Star eclipse over Jedha is peak. We be sleeping on Rogue One. There are some serious cinematic shots in that film. Rogue One, the hallway scene, obviously, duh, we always talk about that one. But the Death Star being tested, that is crazy. And then when it blows up and like everybody on the ground on Jedha is just freaking out. And when we get that cool shot of like the fallen Jedi temple sculpture, that's cool. But yeah, like it blows up and oh man, what is his name? He's the evil guy, Krennic. He's like, oh, it's beautiful. Huh? There's like all this chaos happening and him and his gurus are upstairs and they're just like, oh wow, it's so beautiful. And as a viewer, we're like, oh my word, that's crazy. Rogue One. Death Star eclipse over Jedha. Peak, true, no lies detected. And finally, this person wrote in that, what scene, shot, frame, moment do you consider a Star Wars cinematic masterpiece? They just simply wrote every second. I couldn't agree more. As you guys know, I've just been yip-yapping your ear off about all the things I appreciate about Star Wars. Everything. Why do you think I started a podcast about it so that I could talk about it every single week? We all love Star Wars. I love Star Wars. You love Star Wars. That's why we're here. One of my biggest gripes, honestly, about loving Star Wars is that we don't really have a name. Like, I know that's so teenage girl of me, but it is true. Like, it does kind of frustrate me that as a fandom, we don't really have, like, a name. We here at the Village Jedi podcast have a name, The Villagers. Join the village if you haven't already. Like, subscribe, write a review. 5 stars preferably, or you could write one and tell me what I could do better. I appreciate being educated. But regardless, this fandom, the people who really do find comfort and joy in Star Wars, one of the things that will always bring us together is the moments that we love. Yes, we're always fighting. Yes, we're always on different pages. Yes, Filoniverse. Yes, the Manoverse. Yes, this. Yes, the sequels. Blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, we can all agree that there are moments in Star Wars that will forever stick with us. Some fans get tattoos. Some fans name their kids after those moments or those characters. Some fans name their pets after them. Some fans dress up as those characters. Some fans write books, draw comics. Like, we immerse ourselves in these worlds because they stick with us, because of the things that we get to experience through them. Right? We get to experience the binary sunset through Luke Skywalker. We get to experience the fear of confronting Darth Vader. We get to experience the joy of celebrating victories. We get to experience the fun of being in a spaceship and traveling and discovering different things. We get to do that because of all the care that goes into making sure that these episodes are believable, that they take place in places that we could visit if we wanted to. It is an immersive experience to be a Star Wars fan, and so that's why I wanted to do this episode, is to just share that appreciation, share that love, and just spend a little bit of time this week to talk about something that I appreciate most about Star Wars is the world building. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. Unfortunately, this is where the fun ends. My only hope is you enjoyed, and I will yap at you guys again next Friday. Bye! This has been The Village Jedi. Thank you so much for listening. To support this show, please leave a rating or review wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Go check out the YouTube channel or send me an email to be read and discussed on air. You can also tell a fellow nerd to build the community. I mean this in the nerdiest way possible. May the Force be with you.